Welcome to Enactus Careers Week. My name is Nicole Almond. I'm the president of Enactus Canada and so excited to have you join us today for the Exploring Graduate Programs webinar, which is the second last in our series of webinars and career connection activities that we're hosting this week to support Enactus students who are launching their careers. While we aren't together in person this year, we still wanted to provide opportunities for you to connect and learn about opportunities post-graduation while safely practicing social distancing. Today is a little bit different. We're not talking to partner companies, we're talking to partner institutions. So we have a number of people that'll be joining us today talking about some graduate programs for those of you that aren't quite ready to let go of school. And just so you know, if you're in a graduate program, you are still allowed to be on an Enactus team. So that sways your decision in any way. But in a minute, I'm going to hand over the reins to Cody, Manager of Partnerships at Enactus Canada. He's going to introduce and moderate the discussion with our graduate program representatives, and they'll be sharing a little bit more about their respective programs. Then we're going to open it up to questions from the audience. So get your questions ready and stick them in the Q&A bar as you get them. And without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Cody Ross, Manager of Partnerships at Enactus Canada, to kick off today's webinar. Cody?
Thanks, Nicole, and good morning, everyone. As Nicole mentioned, the topic of today's webinar is exploring graduate programs, a topic that I know a lot of our attendees are keen to discuss. We will cover a variety of information related to graduate programs, the value of a graduate degree, campus culture, and changes arising from COVID-19. Before we get started, let's start with a quick 20-second poll. You should see that on your screen now. Let us know, have you applied to a graduate program? Yes, no, and you're here considering it. And ultimately, we just want to get a feel for what our audience is today, so we have a better understanding of how we can shape this panel. And it'll be on your screen for about 5 to 10 more seconds. Perfect, and it's done now. So we have 7% of our attendees here have said yes, you've already applied to a graduate program, which is great. 29% have said no, and then you have 18 people here who have said they're considering it. And that's really what the purpose of the panel is today, is to get a better understanding of what opportunities are out there from a graduate program standpoint. And we're going to dive into that now with our panel. So I'm pleased to introduce our graduate program representatives. And just quickly in advance, I want to say welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us in this discussion. As I read out your names, you will each have 3 minutes to introduce yourselves and provide a brief overview of your graduate program before we get into the moderated Q&A. So first, Dr. Natalie Slowinski, Academic Director, MBA in Social Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, Memorial University of Newfoundland.
Hi, thank you so much, Cody, for that introduction, and hello from beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland, which you can see on the background. So I'm really delighted to share with you today some of the highlights of our new MBA in Social Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, which is the first of its kind in Canada. It is an MBA, so it's a Master of Business Administration, and it focuses specifically on social enterprise. So what that means is that each course is specially designed to incorporate the unique social enterprise context, which all of you as Enactus members are very familiar with. It is a one-year accelerated program, so you get all of the learnings of an MBA in 1 year. And I think what's really special about our program is that students become part of a cohort, a diverse cohort, with students coming from around the globe with very different backgrounds who work together to learn about social enterprise and the business skills that will allow them to achieve social change in the world. And the students range from coming from business backgrounds to social work, engineering, education, dentistry. And what all of these students have in common is a passion to make a difference in the world. Another thing I think to note about our program is it's highly experiential. It's very hands-on. It's not just theoretical textbook learning in the classroom. You're learning by doing, you're going out into the community. You're learning from practicing social entrepreneurs. You can learn how to incubate your own social enterprise. And I think another really valued part of the program is that it has a 4-month internship at the end. That's part of the program. We find you a very valuable work experience with an organization that can help you achieve your career goals, build your experience, build your networks. We currently have some students placed right now with organizations here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and also across Canada, including at Mars Discovery District in Toronto and at McConnell Foundation in Montreal. Of course, those internships are going ahead remotely right now, but it's still very exciting to be able to place our students with such excellent organizations. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Natalie. And now we're going to move on to Sherry Hewson, Director of Master of Management, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship at Queen's University.
Thank you, and welcome everybody to the Enactus panel. Thank you so much for joining us. And Natalie, we sound like we've got very similar programs. My name, as you know, is Sherry Hewson, and I come from an entrepreneurial background. I've had 5 businesses, 2 rapidly scaling health businesses right now, and a lot of our faculty and team come with very real world experience. 5 of our faculty members and advisors are entrepreneurs themselves, and 3 of our faculty are corporate innovators. So our program is a full-time experiential program for 1 year, and it's a specialized degree. It's a Master's of Management degree that creates leaders of corporate innovation and the new venture economy. And so what we're giving people are the skills, the confidence, and the ability to start up and scale an organization, or start up and scale a project within an organization or for themselves in their own venture. It's a very personalized program. So we have 6 core courses and 2 major project courses in which we really dive into that experiential part. At the beginning of the program, you give us your goals. You are assigned an advisor and a coach right at the start of the program, and those 2 people work with you very closely throughout the year to ensure that you work towards the personal goals that you have. And that's the experiential part of it, and that's where you layer in, you do assignments on what makes sense to move you forward on your goals. You also, in your projects, are working on your actual businesses you're launching and or a project or internship for an organization. It's a very, very flexible model. You can do the program in many delivery models. We have them fully immersed on campus in our incubator and accelerator, or you can do the program from around the world. And we come together in boot camps 3 times a year in live sessions, and then the rest is remote. So you can be where your biggest opportunity is, wherever that takes you. You can come and go to Queen's as much as you need. You have full access to both our engineering department and our Smith School of Business. We are a jointly delivered program, so all services are available, engineering labs, our makerspace, at any time that you might need it throughout the year. And we do even have organizations that bring on interns in order to gain access to some of that research and engineering ability in our school. We are also a program that connects for life. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but our program is very connected for life. The students do not disengage. They are still being coached. They are still accessing resources from the school. They are still very connected to the incoming students. I'll give some examples shortly. So welcome, and I'm sure all of our other presenters, we all have amazing programs, and I'm really proud to be here with all of them.
Thanks so much, Sherry. And I feel like a common theme today is going to be this experiential learning, and I think we'll dive into that a little bit later on. Next up, we have Dr. Gordon Fullerton, Co-Director, Masters in Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation Program with the Sobey School of Business at St. Mary's University.
Thanks for the introduction, Cody. Welcome, everybody, to this webinar. Our program at SMU is a 16-month program, 8 months of courses starting in September. Students will take 4 courses in the fall, 4 courses in the winter. Most of the courses would be in some ways, or some of the courses will be similar to what one might take in an MBA program, in the core courses of an MBA program, but they all have an entrepreneurial focus to them. I teach the entrepreneurial marketing course. There's, a course in new venture financing. There's a course in leadership in the context of startup organizations. Many of the functional areas you'd see in this particular, in the courses in this particular program. We then move on to the optional part of the program, which is 8 months. Many students do the internship stream. We have many programs available to support organizations in Nova Scotia that hire interns. We have interns that work in small startup organizations. I had somebody that I supervised a couple of years ago that worked for a startup that was developing facial recognition software in the context of a retail organization. It was a wonderful internship experience for her, and the organization got a lot of value out of it. Have a student who'll be starting her internship in a couple of weeks. She will be working in new product development for a major beauty firm, cosmetics firm outside of North America. But the other streams that students take, there's a startup stream. Students who have an innovative idea, an entrepreneurial idea, work with some faculty members to actually build and grow their small business. And we've had some incredibly interesting businesses that have emerged from this, and I'll talk about this later on. And finally, we have students who can do a thesis or an independent research project stream. The whole program takes 16 months. Students who start in September of 2020 will be walking across the stage in Halifax January 2022. So thanks for your time.
Perfect. Thanks, Gordon. And now Lynn Barber is the Manager of Recruitment and Marketing with the Hill and Levine Schools of Business at the University of Regina. Lynn?
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for attending this webinar, and thank you so much to the other institutions that are here as well. I'm very happy to be included with them. I come to you from sunny Regina. The weather doesn't look too much different than my background. I hope the same where you are. I'm here representing our Levine MBA in General Management, and so it is more general than what some of the other programs have spoken about, and really our focus is on helping you move to a managerial supervisory type of level, and so we focus a lot on leadership and management in our program. It's a 2-year program focused on advancing business expertise coupled with higher level strategy to help you see beyond the small details and look more to the big picture. We help you maximize your leadership potential using integrated learning techniques and multiple sources of knowledge that include our faculty, fellow business scholars, alumni, and the business community. So whether you want to launch your own business or move to senior leadership within a private or public organization, a Levine MBA in General Management will equip you with the business knowledge you need to achieve your professional goals. Our Levine MBA provides a systematic understanding of core business functions, strategic techniques to achieve results, comprehensive approach to assessing situations and formulating solutions, capacity to lead cross-functional corporate projects, and includes an optional life-changing international study tour where you actually travel to a different country in order to understand how business is done in that area in order to bring back to your province or country to see how you might be able to apply that in your region.
Perfect. Thanks, Lynn. And now I'm going to move on to Pamela Braza-Pittman, the Manager of Marketing and Communications, the Master of Business, Entrepreneurship and Technology at the University of Waterloo.
Hi there, thank you for having me today and welcome to this webinar. I feel very grateful to be alongside some colleagues from other institutions. I'm here to talk about University of Waterloo's Master of Business, Entrepreneurship and Technology program. This is a professional, practical, course-based master's for people who want to make things happen, taking ideas through the commercialization process in a resource-rich startup ecosystem. At Waterloo, we have a unique intellectual property agreement, so you own 100% of what you create. So that is one of the things that we pride ourselves in. We are within a thriving startup ecosystem on campus, along with Concept or Velocity, which is the world's largest free startup incubator. We have a St. Paul's Greenhouse, which is Canada's first live-in social innovation accelerator, just within campus. There are others in Waterloo that we are also well connected in. University of Waterloo is also ranked #1 in Canadian University by University PitchBook rankings for exits, unicorns, and VC backed ventures. I don't know if you saw in the news, Applyboard being one of the recent UW grad that has been unicorn from University of Waterloo. So that is something that we're really proud of. And also this region is also the second highest density, startup density in the world, second to Silicon Valley. So within this is a 1-year program for full-time students, and we also have a 3-year part-time offering. I bet students explore creating their own ventures, a venture within an existing organization in a corporate innovation project, as well as collaborating with early stage startups. So you get to experience building a venture in 3 different perspectives. To complement master level courses. Entrepreneurial experience is embedded through the curriculum, which provides context and hands-on application from the classroom learning. Students complete 10 courses, focus on entrepreneurial aspects and applications of business subjects like leadership, marketing, finance, all the traditional leadership business courses, similar to like an MBA program. But also complete courses in specialized subjects like business model validation, technology innovation, corporate innovation, consulting, and venture creation as part of the core curriculum. MBET students are equipped when they're finished with business knowledge and skills and experience to move ideas and innovations into commercial practice. Students are well prepared to launch entrepreneurial careers. Alumni commonly start and run their own companies. Some examples like Ritual.co, ClearPath Robotics, TutorBright is some of our graduates, work in startups, act as consultants. Some of our students are in EY or Deloitte, or find roles within the entrepreneurship ecosystem to support other startups. So we have individuals in Ryerson, DMZ, Communitech, Velocity, iCube, and UTM, or join larger companies in innovative roles. So that's the MBET program.
Thanks, Pamela. And it's great to hear an overview of all the programs and really across the country too. So there's a great geographical spread as well, and so many different opportunities to further your education. But now we're going to dive into some Q&A. So Natalie and Sherry, let's start with an easy one. What value does a graduate degree provide when job hunting? And Natalie, I'm going to invite you to speak first.
Great, thanks, Cody. I think a graduate degree provides a number of really important, I think, attributes that set you apart from people who have an undergrad degree. I think what a graduate degree really offers is transferable skills such as critical thinking, creativity, teamwork, the ability to meet deadlines. But I think that there's an added something that a graduate degree gives you, and I think it really is about the network that you build. You know, graduate school, you build up strong relationships with fellow students in your program, especially in an MBA type setting like the one that many of our schools here are offering. So I can only speak for ours, but as our MBA in Social Enterprise and Entrepreneurship gives you access to a really supportive community of entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and your fellow students become part of your network. And I think that network is something that you can continue to draw on over and over and over as you enter into the work world.
Perfect. And Sherry?
Hi, thank you, Natalie. Absolutely, I completely agree. That network is probably the most important thing that people get out of a graduate degree program. And they're meeting people from very diverse backgrounds in a graduate level, and they're meeting people across tons of different industries. So I think probably everyone on the panel would agree, it is that amazing network that all of our grads get, and incredible support from all of the different grads. I'm going to take a little bit different angle on the question as well, and just talk a little bit about the difference between an MBA and some of the Master of Management programs and what the difference does in the marketplace. And this would probably apply in some ways to some of the other panelists on the program as well that have similar programs to the MMIE at Queen's. And one of the things, I have an MBA myself, one of the biggest differences I think that we see and that the students talk about is an MBA, except for Natalie's, prepares you for maintaining current operations and managing risk within an organization. Those are the primary skills and primary focus of an MBA. And the Master of Management, Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and some of the other programs might feel the same way. But what we are creating is a different type of leader, a leader who is focused on finding and building new value for the organization, not necessarily maintaining the value. There's operational people that are great at that. Our MBAs are fabulous at maintaining and building growth and value and efficiency in the way we operate. But MMIE is creating those people who are future-proofing an organization, thinking about the trends and the future and what's happening in the world, and finding ways to pivot businesses to gain efficiencies, effectiveness, and new tools. So they're the creation of value and a calculated risk taker. And that's really what the value in the marketplace that we bring for people, whether they're working in an organization or for their own venture. And the ability to sell that value proposition to an employer is what really stands out in the marketplace. And all of us on this program have unique programs that there's not as many grads as the huge volume of a non-specialized MBA would give. And that's what stands you out from everyone else applying for a job. It's that uniqueness about that grad degree on top of everything else that a grad degree brings for you. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thanks, Sherry and Natalie. And I think a lot of that is applicable to the Enactus audience, which we have on the call today. When you talk about future leaders, when we talk about the network, everybody has such a great network within Enactus, and this is really that opportunity to expand that further from a graduate standpoint. So we're going to move over to Gordon and Lynn now. Our participants are thinking about what to consider when choosing a graduate program. Can you tell us the competitive advantage of your program and kind of touch on that more in depth? So we're going to talk to Dr. Gordon Fullerton first.
Thanks, Cody. First, Halifax is a great place to go to school. Nova Scotia is a wonderful place, to go to school. We get students at St. Mary's and other Nova Scotia institutions from all over the world. Students in our program will be working with students from literally every corner of the earth. And the great thing is that these students bring their own knowledge to bear in solving entrepreneurial problems. We can learn a lot from the people that we go to school with at in graduate programs like this. Secondly, our program is reasonably priced. For domestic students. Tuition is around $20,000 for the program, which offers very good value. The third thing I would say is that Nova Scotia and Halifax in particular has a very vibrant startup community, and one of the things that we do very early in the program and all the way through is find mechanisms to incorporate students into this emerging startup community, at places like the Volta Academy downtown in Halifax, and this gives the students the opportunity to interact with people who are just a little bit ahead of them in terms of, building their startups. So, there's an opportunity to learn. Those would be 3 big points. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks. And Lynn? Lynn, I think we have you on mute there.
Sorry, everybody. Trying to follow all the rules here. The Levine MBA is more of a course-based MBA. So there's less emphasis on the research piece and more emphasis on our practical application to business concepts. We, the same to the rest of the program, obviously incorporate the experiential learning into all of our courses. So whether it be through our case-based learning approach or the integration of the business community into our classrooms, we always make sure that there is an element of experiential learning in all of our courses. We benefit a lot from being a smaller city and a smaller university because we can be very closely connected to our business community. So something we really pride ourselves on and something that our students really benefit from as well. The Levine School is also proud to be one of only 3 schools in Canada to have a partnership with Harvard Business School's online branch. So this partnership allows Levine MBA students to take advantage of the low tuition rates for courses taught by Harvard Business School faculty members. So our MBA students are eligible to take up to 2 courses through the HBS Online Credential of Readiness, or CORE program, and have credits transferred to their Levine MBA. So students can also complete a 3rd course to earn that course certificate from Harvard Business School, and then those courses then transfer into your Levine MBA. We also have a partnership with Certified Management Consultants of Canada in order to shorten your path towards your CMC designation upon completion of your MBA.
Perfect, thank you. I think it's great to hear how diverse these programs are and how many different partnerships the institutions have and different options available for everybody on the call today. So we're going to move on to Pamela and Natalie now, and we're going to dive a little bit into campus culture. Can you tell me a little bit about it? What sets your campus apart from others? Is the culture of the school more collaborative, competitive, etc.? So we're going to go to Pamela first.
The MBA learning environment is highly collaborative and dynamic, favoring workshop-style classes instead of lecture-style, group projects, and emphasis on individualized mentorship through speakers, events, and faculty that are entrepreneurs themselves. Students are surrounded by entrepreneurial peers working on their own ventures to advance that, and highly supportive and energetic startup ecosystem that I've already talked about earlier, which I think sets us apart. We are surrounded by entrepreneurial partners on and off campus that students can really learn from. MBA students will be in a high-touch, diverse, supportive school environment as they obtain their degree while building valuable relationships within the ecosystem. So our professors are entrepreneurs themselves, so that they have not only studied entrepreneurships and business concept, but they have also lived through, so they're teaching by experience. Our physical classroom is actually designed workshop style, so not lecture style. So it's conducive to experiential learning. Yes, we still have lectures. Yes, we still have tests. Yes, we still have assignments, but the classroom is more conversational instead of that one-way learning in some cases. We have very small cohorts, so ranging from 30 to 50 students per class. So small class sizes result in high touch experience for students who have unparalleled access to faculty support and enjoy a highly personal experience and shapes their goals and aspirations as they go through the program. And MBA is a highly collaborative and collegial class experience with only 1 intake per year. All MBA students start and finish the program at the same time, building that really close relationship with their peers. Everyone comes from different parts of the world, like everybody else's program. This year, I think we have 18 countries in that classroom with different academic backgrounds. So a third comes from STEM, a third comes from arts, and a third from different other areas of studies, and a wide age range. We have students that are 23 all the way to mid-50s. So coming from all different experiences. So that makes it, and you learn from them. So that really makes it a very diverse learning environment. So it's full of experience, full of like dynamic, diverse, engaging. And I think most MBA would say fun. The classes are a lot of fun.
Thanks, Pamela. Yes, fun is definitely a key requirement when going to graduate school. And Natalie, can you comment on that as well?
Yeah, so I mean, I would echo a lot of what Pamela said. We are very collaborative. I mean, you know, Newfoundland is sort of known for being a very friendly place and very community oriented. And I think that really shines through in our program in a number of ways. And just to give a couple of examples, we are partnered with a number of social enterprises in our province who have been very supportive, who come into the classroom, who will allow students to come and work with them and learn from them. And one of those social enterprises is Shorefast. It's a social enterprise on Fogo Island that has kind of gained global attention for its very innovative place-based approach to social innovation. And so we have myself and two colleagues, Brian Trelstead, who's a professor at Harvard, and Wendy Smith from University of Delaware. We worked with SureFast to create a case study that's going to be published by Harvard this summer, and then in September we'll be teaching that case in the classroom. And SureFast has been an incredibly supportive partner, and we have a number of partners, and I think it's through those partnerships with community that we're able to really offer a unique experience to our students. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. And I think a common frame that we've heard today is always about alumni as well as faculty being and having lived experience has been such a key component for a lot of your programs. So we're going to move on to alumni now specifically, and I know we have a number of Enactus alumni on the call. So to Sherry and Gordon, who are one or two of your most recent successful alumni, and where are they working now? And we're going to go with Sherry first.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I love all the answers so far. For alumni, I think the one thing I want to say is we do have alumni from Smith School of Business that are very notable, Michelle Romano being one, and of course, Kimball Musk, Elon's brother, are both grads of the program, not the program, of Smith School of Business, very, very connected into the program, the MMIE program, and provide a lot of support to our alums. The actual alumni grads from MMIE, I'm going to do an example from each side. We have a high level of social enterprises that are launched from the program. Our two most notable ones would be 1 Million Teachers project, which is Hakim Subair and Rizma Butt, and they are rapidly scaling globally, changing education around the world in third world countries. We also have Kyle Dine, his organization is Equal Eats, and Kyle has a global initiative around fatal allergies, anaphylactic allergies for people and restaurants, and helping people travel and engage more who have these kinds of allergies. And he's my great example of connected for life. So one of the great things about our program, as I said, is that you don't leave. It continues on in a different role. And what Kyle does and has done very well is he graduated 2 years ago. He still has students working all year in their projects on his business and projects. So he hires the interns out of MMIE. They work on the things that he needs to get done, and it builds his business and his capability dramatically. So we also have co-founders from previous years, founding with current years. We have a constant mashup of ideas and opportunities. And then in job alumni, I'm just going to mention a couple of people. One is Andrea. She is the UN South American Diversity and Inclusion Leader. And her whole project during the program was in diversity and inclusion. And she is now leading the South American initiative for the UN. The other one we have is Algonquin College, and he is leading the Indigenous initiatives for all First Nations students studying at Algonquin College, and they have an entire new framework that he has copyrighted and patented, and they are rolling that out and supporting now 15 other colleges and universities with the model he developed during the program. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Sherry. And then Dr. Gordon Fullerton.
Thanks, Cody. Ross Arsenault is a name that some Enactus people may be familiar with. He was very active in Enactus when he was an undergrad student at St. Mary's and as a graduate student in our program. He, along with a couple of other students at St. Mary's University, developed technology, and their company is called Assured. In essence, what it does is it eliminates the problem with ghost traps in the fishing industry. So it enhances the sustainability of ocean fishing, both trap-based things like lobster and crab, but also net-based, technologies where fish are caught, because this is a real issue in this particular industry. So it has social, environmental issues, but it also has real economic benefits to firms in the industry. Another woman who's a more recent graduate of our program, Shelley Simpson. She's basically in the organizational lighting industry, developing more sustainable solutions in terms of lighting, for offices. And so she's really developed a successful business as well. Really focused on the startup successes, because I think that's one of the the main contributions of our program.
Perfect. Thanks to you both. And it's great to see like a wide range of industry and a wide range of alumni coming out of these types of programs. And now we're going to take it into a more practical sense with Lynn and Pamela. Given the situation we're all experiencing with COVID-19, are you anticipating any major changes to your program? And how can students adapt to this distance-based education that so many people have been thrown into head first? So we'll start with Lynn.
Thank you. Yes, it's definitely been interesting times for us all, and especially I'm sure for us in university, in order to maintain the delivery format that we would like to see in our classrooms. Similar to most, if not all, universities in Canada, the Levine School and the University of Regina has been delivering their spring-summer semester virtually. We're still waiting to hear final confirmation on what our fall delivery will look like, but it is very likely at this point that it will also be delivered virtually. The Levine School is committed to offering all of our planned programs and all of our planned courses, but just in a bit of a different delivery format. So for example, we have some week intensive courses. So you would be here 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday, completing a program within, or completing a course within 5 days. We're not going to make you sit in front of a computer, of course, for the whole day for 5 days straight. And so some things that we're doing are adjusting those meeting times and things like that in order to include a little bit more independent learning and those kinds of things. The other thing we are using a lot is a live streaming capability like this, so that we can help to mimic the classroom experience for you, because really that is one of the most important pieces in our program in order to help you interact with your fellow students and those kinds of things, to learn more from them than you often do from the instructor sometimes. So virtual learning is certainly an adjustment, and virtual working is an adjustment for us. And so my biggest tip to people is just to make sure that you can maintain as much normalcy as you possibly can. So even if your class doesn't have a specific meeting time every day or every week, to make sure that you're setting those for yourself. So a certain time when you're completing your coursework and those kinds of things will help you stay on track and help you kind of create a little bit of a routine for yourself, so we're not kind of all just floating in this unknown territory at this time. So best of luck to all you students. I commend you for finishing your program during this time. I can't imagine how difficult it must be, but I commend you for also taking part in things like this, because again, these are those things like Enactus are the things that you add to your program in order to get the most benefit from it. And especially during these times, you will still see those benefits. So congratulations to you all for making it work in these times.
Thanks, Lynn. I think that's great advice around the schedule of the day. And we'll move on to Pamela now.
Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Lynn. I echo Lynn's comments with all of our advice. I agree. Normalcy, even for myself, has been very helpful. University of Waterloo has not made a definitive statement of what we're doing yet for the fall, but what I know is that MBA program will move as quickly as possible to move to normal experience as is safe, guided by public health and U of W. Like most programs here, we have been delivering programming virtually for the last 5 months through the spring term, and we will have learned a lot from it and learned how to move forward for the fall. So we're learning a lot as we go here. If we start out with more online content, we will likely reorganize things to create the possibility for many of our unique practical activities later in the year. So, and when it's conducive to possible to normalcy. What won't change is the unbelievable dedication that our faculty to deliver to our students and whatever our situation is. My advice to students, the dedication to help students, whether we're in the classroom or virtually, has not changed. If anything, what I've noticed through the spring term is that our faculty are more dedicated more than ever to support our students during this time. So please take advantage of that. I know faculty has been online whenever it's possible for them to help our students. So take advantage of that so that you can make the most out of your program while you're continuing your studies.
Perfect, thank you. And I think that's great advice as well. Before we get to the next question, we're going to throw it back to the students and alumni in the audience here for a poll. And we want you to let us know, what is the biggest barrier to graduate school for you? Because ultimately, this is going to shape our last question to our panelists before we get into the other moderated Q&A that people have been submitting through the Q&A function. So please do vote. And these options are: I can't afford to quit my job, I don't have the money to pay for grad school, I don't have the time, admission requirements are overwhelming, I can't get back into school mode, and my undergrad degree is nothing like I want to go to graduate school for. And it will be on your screen for another second or so. Perfect. So ultimately, what a lot of people in the audience here, to all our panelists, are looking for are admission requirements are overwhelming and I don't have the money to pay for graduate school. So we're going to shift the conversation for the last question to that. And we're going to start with Natalie. Can you just touch on the financial constraints, the admission requirements around your program and what that looks like?
Sure, yeah. So our program is roughly priced at $25,000, which for an MBA is actually very competitive. Because we are a one-year MBA, you don't have the opportunity cost of a two-year program. So of course, the longer you're in school, the less time you will be, the less time you're working, and then therefore it becomes more expensive to be in school longer. So that's sort of one way to think about it, is to think about the opportunity cost, not just the tuition. And I mean, in these COVID times, it may be an opportunity that if the first semester is delivered online, you'll actually save money. If you're living at home, you don't have to travel and get accommodations somewhere. So you may want to factor that into it. In terms of admissions requirements, I think most MBAs have a requirement to write a GMAT or GRE. That's, those standardized tests are certainly usually required. But that's just one of many things that we look at. I think most schools will take a holistic view on that, and it doesn't, not everything rests on that one test. It's about, your grades, your letters of reference, the reasons why you want to do that program. And so I would suggest that you maybe not getting totally hung up on one element of the admission requirements, and think about it more holistically as what you as an individual holistically have to offer to that program. Maybe if you take sort of that approach, you'll then have the sort of the confidence to, put your best face forward and just take that plunge and apply to grad school.
Perfect, thanks Natalie. And just a note to the audience, we are running a little short on time, so we won't be taking questions via the Q&A function. What we ask you to do is to put all your questions into that Q&A feature, and we'll send them all to the panelists at the end of the webinar, so that way they're able to answer those directly, should you have any questions afterwards. But for the time being, we'll move on to Sherry with that question.
Thank you so much. And so I absolutely, totally understand the issues that the students did indicate in that poll. For our admission requirements, they are distinctly different from the industry. We go with an application form and a LinkedIn profile, and that gets you, or your resume, either LinkedIn profile or your resume, that gets you immediately into a conversation. We know, and your conversation is actually with me and with my associate director. And the reason why we do that is our program is very much focused on personality. So it really comes through on personality and goals, and those are really what we're looking for in the admission process. There is not a GMAT or a GRE for the program. It's not required. We look heavily at extracurriculars. There are other elements of the application that occur after that conversation that you're having with us, but you would also not have to proceed with those other elements if you know, in the conversation that we have with you, that we realize it's not a great fit. We're all about the fit with the program. We go for maximum diversity in the program as well in all aspects. And so we are looking for a great cohort. And so it's really driven by goals and personality. And so it's a very much personal application process, because we are talking to you by Zoom very early in the process. Around the financial stuff, we do have some scholarships and some bursaries available. None of them are going to offset the full scholarship amount to a large degree, but they are there to help and apply for people that need those. We do and are certified with provincial student loans and the 2 international loan programs, Empower and Protégé, however you pronounce it. It's not Protégé, the crowdfunding site. It's not that name. And so there are loan programs as well. Most of the loan programs, and this will apply for all the other programs as well, is they are making significant concessions right now in the length of time for interest-free periods. The payback periods are being changed because of the COVID situation. So look into those loan programs that are there. They are definitely trying to help students at this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. And Gordon?
Thanks. Our program doesn't require GMAT. You know, I think the rationale is that as you get away from the stuff that's in a conventional MBA program that's traditionally highly quantitative, the GMAT becomes really a less valid predictor of a student's success in a program. And I say this as somebody who's actually run an MBA program in the past. So, I would say if you're concerned about your ability to do well in the quantitative section of a GMAT, then, look to programs that don't require the GMAT as an entry tool. The other thing in terms of funding, I understand that's big these days. Many of the programs today seem to have some kind of formal coursework element to the program, but also an internship. Saw a question on the chat bar about that. Look for programs that have a track record in creating well-paid internships once you get to that part of the program. So try to understand when you're looking at a program, what's the mix between time periods when I'm probably not going to have an income stream because I'll be focused on the academic part of the program, but what do I have in terms of ability to make money during an internship?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And Lynn?
Yeah, and I echo a lot of what my colleagues have said. In terms of our specific program, our program is designed for students who are continuing to work full-time while they are taking the graduate program. Not all of our students do, but you absolutely can. So we have a variety of flexible study options in order to allow that to happen. So you can take our program full-time or part-time. All of our courses are offered in the evening via live stream, online, or in that week intensive format I touched on. We also have a pay-as-you-go structure, so you can budget based on your individual circumstance and what might be going on at that time with how many courses you want to take and those kinds of things. We have a graduate level co-op option, so you absolutely can still earn while you learn, even if you do not have employment when you begin our program. That also helps you to secure employment after you complete our program as well. We have a number of scholarships available. Just this fall, we have $10,000 scholarships available to students joining our MBA program. I hope that will be even higher for the next intake. And so I think an important piece to keep in mind on the financial aspect, we understand that it's absolutely a cost, but remember that it's an investment in yourself. And so it is truly an investment that does pay dividends in the end. And so you are looking to advance your career most oftentimes, and this is really a good tool in order to do that. In terms of admission criteria, the things that set us a little bit apart, we do have a GMAT requirement for our MBA program. However, for those who have an undergraduate degree in business from a Canadian or US institution with a minimum GPA of 75%, you may be exempt from submitting a GMAT or GRE score. We also have a work experience requirement, but we can consider the work experience you've acquired through your undergraduate degree in co-op internships, those kinds of things towards that work experience requirement. So it doesn't necessarily need to be after you've completed your undergraduate degree as well. I understand admission criteria and things like that can be very confusing. My suggestion to students would be to reach out to people like us in order to get more information on that. It's often easy to be walked through it from someone who knows it really well, and it all of a sudden becomes a whole lot less daunting. So I'm more than happy to speak with students if they're interested.
Perfect. Thanks, Lynn and Pamela.
Admissions can become very overwhelming. My advice is to really talk to one of us, as well as maybe a previous student or a current student, to talk about different competencies that these institutions are looking for and what's really important to the program. Check their website, talk to alumni. Those are all very helpful. The documents are really required to demonstrate those competencies and to kind of illustrate what you've done. We also don't need a GMAT because to us, that's not a good indicator of a successful MBA student. So for us, what's important is entrepreneurial passion and aptitude. This is demonstrated through an interview and a letter of intent to really talk about, a chance for you to talk about what you've done that's entrepreneurial, what you're planning to do, even some ideas that you may have been thinking about that you want to look through commercialized. And this is what we look for in fit for the program, and probably the most important thing that we look for in students. Another thing that we look for is your ability to be a graduate student, if you're able to study at that level. So this is demonstrated through transcripts and academic references. And if you're able to do the work, period, like just the work, because it is being an entrepreneur that takes a lot of work. So this is demonstrated through a resume and a professional resume. For MBA, this is a shameless plug. We have an upcoming panel next week for students to have a chance to talk to alumni and current students. So if anyone's interested in that, we do have that event coming up, and happy to pass on that information if needed, if anyone's interested. Another thing regarding tuition, this is a very common concern for all students, but what Lynn has mentioned, this is an investment in yourself. And I can definitely empathize, but you have to really look at what you're looking to do in the future to see if you're willing to pursue that. At MBA, we have a number of funding available for students. When they join the program, as well as through the year, we offer a number of entrance scholarships up to $10,000, I think about up to 10 or around 10 of those available every year. And we also have progress scholarships through the year awarded to exemplar students. We also offer a lot of undergrad programming at University of Waterloo. So we actually recruit our MBA students for teaching assistants or research assistant opportunity to help funding for their education. We have also partnered with Empower to offer reasonable loans for students. So there's a lot of options that's available for students.
Perfect, thank you. So in summary, reach out to these people. They know best. They know everything about admissions, requirements, etc. And they're the best people to have a conversation with. And I see a lot of questions that have been submitted through Q&A. We'll make a copy of those and send them off to our panelists as well so they can reach out. But for the time being, please join me in thanking our panelists for sharing their insights, and thank you all for joining us. I'm now going to hand it back to Enactus Canada President Nicole Almond for some closing remarks.
So thanks so much, Cody, and thank you to all of our panelists for being with us today. So much great information. And I think it's good to know that you can reach out to help in kind of wading through it and fully understanding it. Because I think there's some really great programs out there, and finding the one that's right for you is probably the most important part of that. And talking to people is the best way to figure that out. So I think today is a great start. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to all of the students and alumni who signed in. There are still a ton of opportunities available to get involved during Enactus Careers Week. There are virtual coffee chats this afternoon, and I hear that there are still some spots open. So if you were not signed up but want to attend, feel free to log in. And tomorrow, we are wrapping up Careers Week with our HR Innovation Forum, proudly presented by Deloitte Canada. So go to enactus.ca if you wanted to learn more or get more information. And we hope to see you later in the week and throughout the rest of the event. Have a great day, guys.